In today's video, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step guide on how to use a free software called Audacity to edit your dance music. What's up? Welcome to Dance Tech with JHsu. I'm JHsu, and the purpose of this channel is to help dancers use technology better to tell their stories more effectively and make a bigger impact on the world with their art, whether that's social media, video editing, or in today's video, music. So let's get into it. Now, Audacity is a great free open source music editing software that works on Windows and Macs, and it's actually really powerful. Now, I don't personally use it at the moment. I use Adobe Audition because I already pay for the whole suite. I just like the interface a little bit better, but I used to use Audacity before I got the Adobe suite, and even before Audacity, I was using GarageBand when I had a Mac. And the great thing about editing music for dance is you really only need a couple of things. You need to be able to import music, cut music, fade music, and have multiple layers. And any music editing software really should have that because those are like the bare bones of any editing software. And to clarify, when I say dance music, I'm talking about things for like a recital, a competition, a showcase. We're not talking about remixing songs, but putting songs together or trimming songs to make it fit for a performance. All right, let's get into it. So if you Google Audacity, you'll see it pop up and you can download it either for Windows or for Mac on the website. And then if I pull up Audacity, you'll see there's always this welcome. Now, the first thing I want you to do to make sure you can hear everything you're doing is to go to Edit, Preferences, and just double check under Audio Settings, Playback. Make sure your headphones or your speaker is selected. If you are playing music in Audacity and you don't hear anything, this is probably why. You probably have the wrong output. And then for recording, if you do want to record a voiceover, a sound bite to add in, make sure the correct microphone is selected here. Everything else, the default settings should be totally fine. I have a couple random royalty-free clips that I've found that we're going to use. I haven't actually listened to the full thing, but to import a song, you just find it on your computer, click and drag into empty space, and let go. I'm just going to bring in a second one to show something later on. Now, starting on the left side, this is how you control your individual tracks. So your solo means you will only hear the soloed tracks. Mute is the opposite. You won't hear that track. So solo is really helpful if you have multiple tracks, right? Say I have 3 or 5 songs all layered at the same time, and I want to fine tune just one of them. I can solo just that track, make my adjustments, and then unsolo it so I can hear everything. Or if I want to get rid of one thing, but I'm not sure if I want to get rid of it, I can mute just that one track, see how I like it, and then unmute it or delete it, stuff like that. Up top, you'll see there's a play button. That's how you can play your music. Stop. Record is if you're recording through your computer. So with your microphone, if you have an instrument plugged in, that's what you would use. So generally, you won't need this. We're going to skip this for a moment. Now, if you go up here, this is your selection tool and your envelope tool. These are the two you will probably use the most. I actually don't really use the draw tool or the multi-tool, not sure what they do, but you'll also see if you hover over anything, it will tell you what it does, which is super helpful. The other ones that you will probably use a lot are your zoom in, zoom out, fit to selection, and show entire project or fit project to width. So let me show you what that means. If I have my selection tool picked, if I click anywhere, you'll see that black line. That means my track will start playing from that spot. So let me solo this first. Now hit spacebar to play.
Oh, snaps, it's me again.
So if I click somewhere else,
I'm a 10.
you'll see that green marker shows you where it is. All right. Now, if I click and drag, that's my selection. So it'll still start playing from the beginning of my selection, and then it'll stop at the end of the selection. fun little trick is if you hit the loop button, enable looping, now it will loop my selection.
Knock, knock, that swag is in. So fly, yeah, I'm a 10.
So if you are trying to hear it, you can't figure out where you want to cut, that's a great way to just listen to a small section and not have to keep going back and rewinding over and over again. Now, coming back to this side, so you can solo, you can mute, you can add effects. We're not going to really get into that today because honestly, I add effects to my music maybe once every, I don't know, 10. So if you, and also for Audacity, I don't really know how to do them. Even in Audition, I always have to Google it because I don't use it enough. But if you're interested in certain effects, let me know. But here is important. It's your gain. It's how loud your track is. So if I start playing it and I drag it to the left, you'll see it gets quieter. If I drag it to the right, it gets really loud. So a good thing, kind of guideline to follow, over here, you'll see there's the speaker one. This microphone one is if you're recording your microphone, but you want it to live in this -6 to -12 range. So if I'm playing it, it's where it's green going into yellow with occasional peaks in the red is fine. But if I'm always living in the red, so say I crank it up, and sorry, it's gonna get kind of loud.
Oh snaps, it's me again.
See how it's just constantly in the red? That is gonna end up peaking. It's gonna sound really distorted. It's not gonna sound good. So it's a good idea probably to go to a loud part of your track and just double check how loud it is. Because sometimes you might have the volume cranked up on your computer in your headphones or cranked down a lot. So then you crank it up a lot or down in the software and it doesn't accurately reflect how it sounds in the space. So watching that meter is a good guide to make sure everything is more or less where it should be. So from there, you can click around. Now, if I want to cut my clip, all you need to do is select that area. You'll see the line there, right click, and you can cut or split clip. Each will do the, just kidding, split clip. And now you'll see if I hover up here, it turns into a hand on this lighter bar and I can move it around. I can also always Control or Command Z to undo until I get to the right spot. Something also important to know. So when you click and drag, it lets you move it around, which is great. If you want this song to come in second, I would pull it behind this bottom track, but you can go into the negative. So if I go here, now it's not going to play the very first part of the song. Oops. So just be mindful of that. But maybe I want it to start right at that verse. But if not, I'll just pull it back. So that's how you generally navigate through this. I would not touch the left and right a whole lot. What that does is if I pull it all the way to the left, it will only play in the left ear, and all the way to the right would only play in the right ear, which is cool for certain effects for music artists. For dance, we generally want it coming out of both equally, so just keep it in the center for that. All right. Now, if I'm trying to cut this track, say I need to shorten it from whatever it is, it's like right under a minute, say I need to cut out a verse or a chorus, I always try and cut on the same count for both ends. So if I'm cutting on an 8, then the next part I cut in that I want to splice together, I'm also cutting on the 8. That way it blends together smoothly, staying on the same rhythm. So for example, let's say, listen to this for a moment.
We not cool, no, I'm not your amigo. You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me. You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
All right, so that's a nice build up, but maybe I need to cut out this part and have it, you can kind of see where it builds. And this is, I'm guessing, another kind of bass. Yeah, so there's another dun, dun, dun. I think that'll cut smoothly with here. Right. So I'm actually going to cut a little bit past it first. Just going to split this. Going to come here, split this. This is a first like a rough cut. Now I'm going to select this and just hit backspace to delete it and bring it in. Now I know this still doesn't line up, but it's just so I can zoom in now and get a little bit tighter. Need to pronunciate. Okay, let's play this.
Stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
All right, it's right at this peak. So I'm gonna cut that here now. Get rid of that. Right here, cut that. Now bring that in. See how that sounds.
Stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
Boom. And that sounds, I think, pretty good. So that is how we now shortened it. So that's how you could use Audacity to shorten a clip, move things around. Now, if for some reason, let's do this. I'm going to right click, add stereo track. So you'll notice, see how there are two columns? That means it's a stereo track. Mono means there's just one, so I wouldn't be able to do the left and rights. If you accidentally hit mono, and I did this earlier and I was really confused and annoyed, and I try and drag it down, it won't let me. See, I'm clicking and dragging and it's not letting me. So I'm going to X out and delete this track. I'm going to right click, add stereo. And now I'm actually going to click here and now I can move the track up so it's underneath. I can click and drag now and bring it down. Now, do you see how it became grayed out? It's because we soloed this track. So I can solo this track as well. That way we can still hear it. If for whatever reason I wasn't sure about that cut, you see how, whoa, where am I? When I hover over the edge, here we go. Okay. You see how when I hover over this, there's that tool. I can always extend it back out a little bit if I need to, or down. Now, I will admit, I don't know what I did just now to make that available. So, oh, you know what it is? Okay. So you need to hover close enough up here. If I hover down here, it doesn't show up. So make sure you hover close to this bar. Okay. So say I cut it too much and I need to bring a little bit back. I can always drag it back out just like that. All right. There we go. See the things you learn even as I'm recording this. Let's play this one more time just so I can remember what it sounds like.
High, can't top me. You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
Say I think it's just a little early in that drop. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit now. And I'm gonna extend this out. And I'm just gonna extend this out. And now if I click here, I'm gonna really zoom in. And actually that's a pretty good lineup where that peak is and that peak is. But this is how you could just double check. And I could always back it out a little bit and see how that sounds. And if you're too zoomed in, you're not going to get a good sense of it. So I always zoom out a little bit more. Let's play it again.
I'm up too high, can't top me.
Actually, honestly, it still sounds a little early. Wish it would come a little bit later.
I'm up too high, can't top me.
Oh, but that's way too much, right? So actually, I think that original was good. And that's just how the music is.
I'm up too high, can't top me.
There we go. But that's how you could separate one single song into multiple tracks to help you figure out the transition. Now, if we wanted, let's zoom all the way out. Let's go to the end. See that bass there? This is a great way to end a track really early and make it sound smooth and not just have to cut off the song. So I'm going to go back to here. Right here, it's that bass. I can feel it. Yep. All right. So now I'm gonna zoom out. I'm actually gonna delete this whole part. Remember, if I need to, I can always bring it back. I'm gonna line it up there. And this I could have done in the same track. I just dragged it down to show you in case you like to work that way better. So I'm gonna line this up I think right there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Ooh, we're getting real nitty gritty here. That looks good to me. Zoom out. All right, let's listen to that.
Can't top me.
Woo! And look, that sounds so good. So much better. So let's rewind it a little bit more so we can hear with a little more context.
I'm up too high, can't top me. You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
Boom. There you go. So that is a great way to make sure your track ends on a really nice note. Go to the very end of the track and bring it into where you want it to end. Again, making sure you're ending it on the 8 or the 1 is usually how you want to do it to make sure it sounds smooth. But I use this trick all the time in my mixes. And you could do the same thing with just another track. So let's go and solo this one now. And notice you can resize these. If it's taking up too much space, just hover until you see the arrows and drag up. I'm gonna do this. And so let's say this is our second song, so we know it's gonna be somewhere here. And let's check it out. Ooh, you know what? Let's try this. So, do you hear how this?
I'm up too high, can't top me.
There's that boom. I think that last beat could line up really nicely with the first, not the very first, the dun dun dun, not the I'm a. So let's do this. I'm gonna zoom in. It's like right here. Oh no, there we go. So actually, I'm gonna hover. I'm just gonna trim it down, and now I'm gonna bring it to here. Now, with this, in theory, I could just not have this track, but let's see how it sounds first.
I'm up too high, can't top me.
It's okay. I don't think this would do much.
I'm up too high, can't top me.
Actually, it does. It does sound better with this ending.
I'm up too high, can't top me.
Now, as a transition, it does sound a little jarring. I probably wouldn't do that. What I would probably do for this particular track, because remember, every song is different how it flows into the next song. So song selection does play a big part in how well things cut together. I think I spend days looking for songs that I think will go well. So even if I like a song, sometimes it doesn't make the cut because I don't think it'll flow well with the other songs I have in mind, which is just really annoying. Okay, but so let's say we have this.
Top me.
Somewhere around here, I think I'll just start this second song.
I can't top me.
Yeah. Now, a way I could be a little bit more specific with the timing, let me mute this for a moment. I'm going to count the 8s. So watch.
You can't stop me. I'm
6,
up too high,
7,
can't
8,
top me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I want to start it on like the 1 right here. So I'm going to bring it back. Let me just double check that.
You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was actually, so it's more like here.
You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep. All right, let's try that. So now I'm gonna bring the 5 right there. And let's just see how that sounds.
I can't top me.
2, 3, 4, 5. You see how it just kind of flows and follows the natural rhythm of the previous song? So instead of just randomly deciding where I wanted to start, I'm trying to follow the rhythm that was already set by the previous track. So let's hear that one more time. Maybe we'll zoom out.
Just don't confuse with the ego. We not cool, no, I'm not your amigo. You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me. You can't stop me. I'm up too high, can't top me.
Yeah. And it's not Perfect. So I would maybe actually start this a little bit sooner and we would tweak it and adjust. But you'll see that's generally how I go through all my songs. Now, how do we fade in, fade out? Because that is also really important. So let's say we did not use the method where we're going to cut this part and bring it in. Let's say we want it to just fade out somewhere. Always works, so I close my eyes. Trust in the process, going for the top, so I'm ready. All right, I'm just going to make an arbitrary choice here. Let's say we want it to fade out by here. This is where the envelope tool comes in. So I'm going to go up, click the envelope tool. And now I'm going to zoom. Let's see. Sorry, hold on. Actually going to go here first, zoom in. And now click envelope. Okay. Do you see how now these blue bars appeared? So I'm going to click where I wanted to start and it shrank everything. So I'm just going to actually wait, hold on. Yeah. I'm just going to bring it back up. All I'm doing is just bringing my mouse up, sliding it up. You don't want to go too high because this is the volume. Just bring it back to where it was. And I'm going to click to the end. And you see now these 3 dots. So now I can click and drag the top one or the outside one or the inner ones. To be totally honest, I'm not exactly sure what the difference is. I know there is a difference, but I don't really see it. But now see, now we're kind of fading it out. I find the outside one works much better than the inside one. Inside one, it kind of just clack, which maybe you want that, but if you want more of a gradual, that's a fun sound. If you want a more gradual fade like that, now if you play it, and there you go. So that's a nice smooth fade out. And we could also, let's do this just for fun. I'm going to find another track. Let's see. I think this one's the other different one. This is more of a trap song, so I probably wouldn't actually do this, but let's listen to this real quick. Go back to my selection tool. Oops, I have my boop on. Let's go. Okay, just for fun, I'm gonna bring the trim it down to here, bring it to here. Let's zoom in a little bit so we can take a look. I wanted to start fading in where I have this one fading out. And so now I'm going to take my envelope tool, click on it here. Just going to drag this back up a little bit. Don't want to go too high. Now I'll go to the end or beginning and now drag this down. So now this fades out, this fades in. And let's take a listen to that. Always works, so I close my eyes. Trust in the process. That's not, I mean, that's a good transition, but it's a weird choice. So that is how you can cut and fade, and that's pretty much everything you need, and adjust the volume, right? So adjusting the gain, or let's say you have a part that is too loud, but everything else is pretty good. That's where the envelope tool comes in. So let's say this song, let's go here. Say this part volume wise is good, but this part I need it to be quieter because it's too loud. It's blowing things out. Go to my envelope tool. I'm going to go here, click, bring it up first. And now I'm going to fade this down just a little bit. I'm actually going to click and drag this back more. Click and drag that back more. But do you see how I'm lowering just the volume of this part? And then I'm just going to go a little bit further down. Let's say this is a random spot, but say here, I want it back to normal. Click here. Whoa, don't do that. Bring it back to there. Click again and bring it back to where I want. And so now if we play it, see how it got quieter? Now bring it back. And if you wanted to be an abrupt cut, you can just make the dots closer to each other, or if you want more of a gradual fade to or a gradual lowering of the volume, you just drag it out so it's more gradual. And there you go. Now, to finish this, if you want to record your voice for a soundbite, for example, I'm going to click add stereo track, and we're gonna bring it up and move it up again. Move it up one more time, so it's at the very top, and you can even, oh, one more. There we go. Nope, I think I accidentally moved the wrong one. Sorry, move this one. There we go. And you can rename them if that helps. I'm gonna say voice over. So sometimes I'll do, rename it to song 1, song 2, song 3, etc. Oh shoot, did I zoom in all? Did I zoom in this whole time? Okay, sorry, I'm back. I realized what happened. 1 is my hotkey to zoom in and out. So when I typed in song 1, it zoomed in and I was like, oh no, did I just zoom in this entire recording? Whew, okay, we're back. So say I rename the songs to whatever the track is, that's a great way to keep it organized. But to do a voiceover, all right, I'm gonna go solo this track just to make sure there's no interference. I'm gonna go to the beginning and I just need to hit this red button, record. So let's try something. Are you ready?
Oh, snaps, it's me again.
Are you ready? All right, you'll notice I was peaking just a little bit, so I was a little loud. So I might just do that over again. But I could put this now here. And now if I unsolo. Are you ready?
Oh, snaps, it's me again. Knock, knock, that's where.
So, you could do stuff like that. Just making sure, again, you're watching your audio levels. So if it's getting too much in the red like mine was, it's going to sound a little not great. So I would record it, maybe be quieter or be a little bit further away from the mic, things like that. But say you have your entire mix done. So let's see, what have we done here? Now, obviously we didn't, end this, but pretend this is done. All you're going to do is file. Well, first you should save your project, save, and I would actually recommend saving as you go, which I did not do for this demo, but save to computer, that's fine. And then just find somewhere where you want to save it, call it what you want. It's going to be an AUP3 project, which is fine. That just means you can reopen it in Audacity. It's the working file, not the final project, so don't panic. But you would save that where you want it. That way you could click on it again, open it up in Audacity if you need to tweak anything, if you change a song, if you decide you need to shorten a song, things like that. I'm going to cancel that for now. But to export, you're going to go export audio, save to computer, and now I would call it. So this is Audacity test export, for example. For me, you can browse it to then save it somewhere else. So I'm going to go to my, sure, why not, desktop or documents. That works. Audacity. Great. Save it. Stereo, all of this, you shouldn't have to touch it. Entire project is good. Hit export. And look at that. It's already done. So now let me pull it up. Documents, Audacity. Are you ready?
Oh, snaps, it's me again. Knock, knock, that swag is in. So fly, yeah, I'm a 10.
So there you go. That is how you edit in Audacity. That's how I would use Audacity to edit together a dance set. Hopefully you found this helpful. Like I mentioned before, there are a lot of other great programs out there like GarageBand, like Audition. So let me know in the comments what you use to edit your music together. If you have any questions about those programs or anything else about Audacity that maybe I didn't cover, also let me know in the comments. In the meantime, make sure you like this video, hit the subscribe button and then hit that bell so you know every single time I drop a video. I messed that up, but you know, we're just gonna roll with it. And I will see you next time.